Congratulations, Internet. You did it again. You successfully hate watched another show to the top of the ratings just because people couldn't wait to see what was so bad about this show. What's going on, Internet? It's Mike, and today we're going to be talking about The Idol, created by Sam Levinson and The Weeknd. I tried not to make this video too long, but I think it just ended up being a little bit longer because I had a lot of thoughts about it, and I didn't realize that until I started typing my script for this. So let's just jump into it. And also because every YouTuber and their mother has now made a video about this TV show, so I figured why not? And I needed some content, so let's just talk about it. And I actually enjoy, I'm gonna get my bias out the way. I actually enjoy this show. So these are my thoughts and opinions on what everybody's talking about on social media, what the reviews are saying, and what I think about the actual show. I'm playing devil's advocate here, or I guess you could say Tedros advocate, since he's essentially the devil to anybody on the internet or anybody who's watched the show. Man, I kind of agree, but I think this show deserves a little bit more grace than people are giving it. I'm not saying it's a good show, like a great show all around that you should watch with your parents, but I am saying that there are some parts in the show that are a little bit redeemable compared to what everybody else is saying online. So as you guys probably know, if you're at all familiar with what's going on in the background of the show, here's a quick rundown of some of the hate and the backlash and where it's all stemming from with this show. So as I said earlier, Sam Levinson and The Weeknd created this show. Sam Levinson is also the creator of the hit HBO series Euphoria starring Zendaya. Yeah, I actually enjoyed that show too, so I'm a little bit familiar with that part of his work. So I was very curious to see what he had planned to do with The Idol. And it's also starring The Weeknd, also Abel Tesfaye. He wants to go by that name now, so I'll try to keep saying that, but The Weeknd is much easier to say, so I'm gonna just keep saying The Weeknd for this video at least. So if you guys are familiar with my content, I am a fan of The Weeknd, but I was able, see what I did there, I was able to view this show without bias and take it for what it is, which I think is what everyone should do with the show. He's not playing himself. He's not, well, I was going to say he's not singing, but a lot of his music is in the show, which I guess makes it a little bit difficult for people to separate. Like, how are you singing this and in the show at the same time? That's one thing I wish he wouldn't have done with this show. That is one of my biggest critiques about the show. Don't get me wrong, he has been putting out some bangers for this TV show. Double Fantasy, banger. Popular, banger. Like, he's been putting out really good music, and that's all getting overlooked, unfortunately, because of all the backlash with this show. So the show also stars Lily Rose Depp, who plays the main character Jocelyn. Lily Rose Depp, the daughter of this man right here.
Run.
I don't really know her for anything else, so that's all I can really say about her. But I will say that she is doing an amazing job acting in this show. I think she is doing the best with acting in the show out of any of the other cast or characters here. Everybody else is playing their part to a good extent. There are certain characters I wish would have more screen time, but I think Jocelyn is doing a great job of displaying an array of emotions. I'm sorry, I should say Lily Rose Depp is doing a great job of expressing her emotions very well through this character of Jocelyn on the camera. Now, so to just break down a little bit of the drama, I'm not going to go that deep into it because there's plenty of articles, there's plenty of reviews that you can go look at and see what was the crux behind making this show. But here are a few highlights. So Amy Seimetz, I hope I'm saying that right, the original director, was allegedly ousted from the show by The Weeknd because he allegedly said that the show was leaning too much to a female perspective. Now, this was a quote taken in some article, and there's no video of him saying it. He never even addresses that he said that. So, I mean, people can take that for what it is. I mean, I guess people around the show might have heard him say that, but I don't have any proof, so I'm not going to say that that actually happened. But I will also, again, play devil's advocate here. If it's his show and people have been making this comparison to the fact that Jocelyn's character is somewhat of a mirror image to Selena Gomez, and if he is making this show about his perspective of what happened during that relationship and all that stuff that goes on, why would he want that to be told from a perspective of someone else? Because that, to me, that would be even worse. You trying to tell someone else's story, but maybe he's just trying to tell it from his perspective, you know? So I don't find that much of a negative, But that is apparently what he said. And if that's true, then I could see that being a reason that he might not want it completely shot from a female perspective. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So she was ousted, and that brought in Sam Levinson, and this led to the show being reworked to what it is today. And a lot of the footage that was they were actually very far along with the original shooting of the show. So apparently they had to rework it and scrap all the stuff they already wrote, wasting millions of HBO dollars. So I'm sure they weren't happy about that. But that is how we got what we got today. Also in the show, The Weeknd depicts what appears to be a cult leader by the name of Tedros, who manipulates Jocelyn and says and does some creepy and not so great things in this show.
Oh. You stupid. Don't send me that shit no more, you stupid ass.
So to get into the main point of this video, I would like to also address what's being pushed by a lot of content creators who have been covering the show. And don't get me wrong, these content creators are content creators that I enjoy. I actually was very surprised to see that some of these people had these takes on the show when it, to me, felt like they weren't looking past all the media controversy. They didn't take a look at it for themselves. Some of them went and watched the show and built their own perspectives, and I do respect that. And I'm not going to name any names, but there's some that I love that I wish they would have had a different take on it, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I respect it. But I'm going to address some of the stupid things that were being said in some of these videos for views and clicks and all that stuff. So I have 3 points that I'm going to hit on about what people are seeing wrong with the show, and I think I know what their issues are. So first being that they don't know who The Weeknd is. Second, not understanding the message being put across about this show, even though I don't think the message is that deep. I'm not giving them that much credit. I'm just saying that y'all are not looking at this from a different perspective. I can't say the word perspective today. I don't know what's going on with me. And 3, the most frustrating to me from what I've seen is that people do not understand Tedros. They really don't understand The Weeknd's character and what he's going for. So much so that he had to put out an article about that. But we're going to talk about that more soon. So at the date of this recording, this is June 30th. The final episode is slated to release Sunday at 9 p.m. So if I'm wrong about how I perceive the show to be going, then ignore everything I say here. But at this moment, this is what I'm seeing from this show and the fans. So first, anyone who watching the show who doesn't know who The Weeknd is, you are living under a rock. You need to go figure out why this person decided to make this show. And I think listening to his music, if you go back to Kissland, if you go back to any of the mixtapes from the trilogy, I think that will give you a great picture of the sexual deviant that The Weeknd, Abel, is portraying. So if you just go back and do that, I'm sure you'll get a little bit more clarity about where all this is coming from. Because he's been singing about stuff like this his whole career. This man did the soundtrack for 50 Shades of Grey. Like, bruh, what else are y'all expecting from The Weeknd to do in this show? Like, or y'all just expecting him to, I think another part, we'll talk about this more in my third point, but I think people were expecting Abel to come in and seduce you throughout the whole show, sing and like make everything so beautiful and lighthearted and all that stuff. No, bro, like this man has been on demon time since day one. Day one, bro. So, second, I would like to talk about the message of the show. Like I said, I could be completely wrong about the way I'm looking at the show, but that is what shows are for. Each of us are watching the show and we may take bits and pieces and perceive things a certain way or a different way. I feel like people are really just, with all the stuff that came out earlier, people are looking at the show immediately to cancel it. They're looking at every single situation like, he shouldn't say that there. He shouldn't do that there. And they're just looking to cancel the show without looking further into what the message of the show is. So yes, there are all these things in this show that involve SA. I'm not going to say the other word. That involve SA, things that will not be okay for anyone to do, and things that could get anybody canceled is what I'm trying to say. And if you're watching the show, you know that Jocelyn is choosing all these, whether she knows that she's choosing these bad things to happen to her or not, she is choosing all these things to happen to her. And I do not support it. I'll talk about that more in a second as well. But that is what people are looking at when they're bringing up all these gross and horrific things that are happening in this show. Are there some very cringy, disturbing, and downright these scenes should have never been filmed on camera moments in this show? Hell yes. But guess who continuously watches it and makes content about it? The content creators and you. I know I'm a victim of it. Like I'm certain, I think it was episode 2 when they were doing the sex scene. That was very disturbing, and I did not feel great watching it, but I understood where the story was going at that point. Like Tedros didn't come in like he was about to be the best boyfriend in the world. He didn't come in like that. So I was not expecting anything else other than some weird shit coming from the weekend. So that is what I saw, and I don't see how anybody else didn't see that. So if you don't like the show, don't watch it. I think it's as simple as that. I never understood when people hate watch something all the way through just to hate it even more. Maybe Tedros isn't the weird one here. You are. Like, go get some help if you're just continuously hate watching it and not seeing anything that you'll potentially like in the future. Like, if those first 2 episodes weren't for you, I get it. Turn it off. But don't watch the whole season just to hate it, bro. Like I went through this with Cowboy Bebop. I've had a few of my coworkers talk to me about Cowboy Bebop, the live action one. I personally loved it. Maybe this is the second show I'm trying to defend. Maybe I just like trash TV and I really enjoy it. But that's another thing. He said that he couldn't make it past the first episode, and I was like, I respect that. But if you can get to this point in the show and you still don't like it, okay, good, done. But to watch the whole thing and just hate it is just that's insane to me. So I perceive this message of the show is what it's like to be the idol. Roll credits. And what it's like for a celebrity like Jocelyn to handle these situations. And let's be clear, none of you can relate to most of Jocelyn's problems. None of you. I don't relate to any of them. I can guarantee you that. She's a skinny white girl living in LA who has a music career and is a millionaire and is like struggling with the grief of her mom's death. I can't relate to any of those problems right there. I really can't. So maybe that's something that's holding a lot of people up with the show. It's unrelatable as hell. And I get that. A lot of the shows you watch are unrelatable, but you still watch them. So it really shows the difficulties of what it's like for her. So it's clear to me, if you watch the show, not many people have Jocelyn's best interest at heart other than Destiny and Javi. They're the only 2 people, it seems, in the whole show that have her best interest in heart. Even though Tedros says he does not have her best interest at heart. He's making all the worst decisions possible for her, I guess, except for her music, because that "I'm a Freak Yeah" song was trash. I'm glad he got rid of that. But other than the actual music, he's not making any great decisions for her. It just also goes to show you how when you're in this industry in Hollywood, people will take advantage of you left and right. It is so evident throughout this whole show that everybody's just taking advantage of her. Even Tedros, like the guy that she's fallen in love with, saying that he loves her and all that stuff. He clearly is not really doing anything good for her in her life. Another main thing that I think the show keeps hitting on, and I think what turned a lot of people off in that first episode, is when this character said mental illness is sexy. And I think further down the show, watching that character progress, I forgot her name, don't try to quote me on that, but further down the show, you see that she really doesn't give a fuck about Jocelyn's mental health. Like, the one scene, I was going to bring this up later as one of the best scenes in the show. The one scene when Jocelyn is trying to get that scene right for her music video, and she keeps doing takes over and over and over and injuring herself in the process. And she has a mental breakdown asking for her mom in the middle of the set. And that character says, "Oh, I think it's time for you to go home and recover, get some rest, blah, blah, blah." A few minutes later, she asked the backup dancer to come and take her spot. So how much do they actually care about her mental health? They don't in this show. So people bringing that up as a negative thing, yes, it is a negative thing, because that is a bad person. That is a bad person. We're not supposed to like these people. We're not supposed to like a lot of these people in the show. I don't even like Jocelyn. Like, this show isn't for you to love everybody in it. And even, I think that's a theme also with like Euphoria. I didn't like a lot of the characters in Euphoria. A lot of the people were destroying other people's lives very clearly, but people still champion those things. People still champion a lot of those things. So I don't understand what people are looking for in TV anymore. This show also very clearly implicates how easy it is to get lost in your career without the right people in your corner, without her mom, even though her mom, it came to see in episode 4, I believe, or 5, episode 4, that she had a bad relationship with her mom and there's abuse going on and all that stuff. But she had her mom as her foundation in that. So without her mom there, you invite people like Tedros, you invite these other people that are not looking out for you. And that, I think that's a great message for this show. It's showing how dirty and grimy Hollywood can really be. Like with the first episode, when that picture got leaked onto the internet, how many people were just hiding those facts from her, hiding that the picture had been surfaced for hours before she even got wind of it. I think maybe that could be, you could perceive that as they're trying to protect her, but also I think if you got somebody's back, you're going to tell them immediately that this is going on, because the longer that stuff's out there, even if you can try to remove it from the internet, the longer that stuff's out there, the worse it's going to be for you. So there's exploitation going all around left and right. So lastly, with this message of the show part, I want to bring up this thing I saw a YouTuber say, and I hate that he said this because I like this YouTuber. He said they just gave Jocelyn a lot of trauma just to have it, and that her character is just that, the trauma. And I was like, bruh, I understand the writing in this show isn't great, but they can't even give her any trauma. They can't give her trauma and like let that build on what she has gone through in the past, especially where they are in the show. This is a very significant time in her career. An album after her mom dies, and she's got to learn how to deal with that. That is very important. So to say that a writer shouldn't give her that much trauma is kind of crazy to me. That's like saying Peter Parker can't have the trauma of Uncle Ben dying. Batman can't have the trauma of his parents dying. Like, what? That is crazy. That is crazy. I can't believe somebody actually said that about writing, bro. They need to put stuff in the story for you to care a little bit about these characters in their past. So to just attack a character's trauma and origin is just wild to me. So lastly, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite character, Tedros.
Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel. Hello, Angel.
Boy, if you don't...
I want to start off by saying I do not support anything that this character is doing in this show. I don't support anything that they're doing, but I feel like I understand the character. So like I said earlier, he seems to be some kind of sexual cult leader. Boy, I can't talk today. He seems to be some kind of sexual cult leader. And the YouTuber who also was talking about the trauma said, Tedros is supposed to be the smooth, charismatic, charming guy. Bitch, where? Where is he supposed to be any of these things? And I feel like, I'm glad he said that, because I feel like that is the biggest thing that a lot of people are missing with this show. Abel Tesfaye, The Weeknd, is not playing himself. And I think that's what a lot of people think is going on. But I mean, I guess the hair and his appearance and the fake tattoos don't do enough for people to understand that he's not playing himself. He's clearly not. So I don't understand where he's supposed to be this smooth person at. I truly don't get it. Since this man stepped on screen, he's been nothing but creepy. Nothing but creepy, from his introduction to the first time he went to her house. Like, nothing about this man has said charming. Jocelyn's just crazy enough to fall for this guy. We're just going to have to accept that to be a part of the story. We all know, I would hope most of us know, that this guy would probably never make it this far in this situation. And Jocelyn, I don't know why she just goes out everywhere without security. If you're that famous, you need to have security with you, but that's another talk for another day. So I guess a lot of people, just like I said earlier, didn't understand, because The Weeknd did his own article. I forgot, was it for Variety? I don't know which magazine it was for, but he did his own article saying that the Tedros is not meant to seduce you. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel disturbed by these scenes. And if you're hearing that and you don't want to be disturbed, like I said earlier, stop watching the show. So I don't think anyone listened to anything he said there because, like, due to the media around the show, everybody has their own, not their own, everyone has a groupthink manufactured by the media opinion about this show before they've even watched it. So when he comes out and says, oh, please stop looking at the show this way, he's telling you that that's what he wants you to do. Like, he doesn't want you to think he's charming, but people still just fall back into it. It's interesting. It's very wild to watch people and their opinions about the show. It's been crazy. That I've been sitting back. I really haven't been saying anything about the show. I've just been watching the social media reactions to it. It's been hilarious. Don't get me wrong. It's been hilarious, and I've just been chilling, enjoying the show. Well, I think with the articles and behind the scenes drama and the out of context clips circulating Twitter of Tedros acting weird as hell, yeah, people will probably make up their own opinions about how bad the show is without even actually watching it. So I also want to say people are flaming The Weeknd's acting in this show. Now, if I were to sit up here and say he deserves an Oscar, you should put a shot collar on me because I am tweaking. His acting is not top tier. I can agree with that. I'll give y'all that. So no, his acting is not at a Jonathan Majors level of acting. Oh, I think that's probably a bad example to do right now. His acting isn't Michael B. Jordan level of acting, but come on, this is a singer and this is his first major role on fucking HBO. Like, cut this guy a break for this being his first major role and not just playing himself like a lot of celebrities do. It could be so much worse than it is. And I think he's doing a decent job. He's not doing the best job. I think a different actor could do this role better. I'll say that, but he's not doing terrible. I sound like Tedros's lawyer right now. Like, Your Honor, please. He has a rat tail, but it's okay. It's okay. He's trying. So in conclusion, I don't think this show is nearly as bad as anyone says. I personally enjoy it myself. It is a beautifully shot show and it has some very strong moments. Like I said, with that Jocelyn rehearsal scene and other scenes that get a little bit dark, even though some people can't handle it. I think those are very well played out scenes. And the one thing I'll also say is, like, the pacing isn't the best, but it can be worked out in future seasons if they do have future seasons. I hope they don't give up on the show yet just because of the outlash that it's getting. I think there's some potential here. I think the B story with I forgot the other singer, the background dancer's name, and her taking Jocelyn's spot. I think that could be a good story if they try hard enough and go deeper into it. I think there is something here. And when you watch some of these scenes where you see that potential, I'll be like, there is something there. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's there. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do you hate The Idol, or have you watched it? What do you think about the show? I really want to hear from the people who haven't watched it. Like, what are y'all's thoughts about all of the chaos and whatnot that's going behind the scenes? So let me know. As always, it's Mike. Be smart, be safe, make great decisions, all that jazz. I'll see you guys later.
I don't understand why you even did this to yourself. This made you look so fucking stupid.